G'day, ZiggyD here. The Path of Exile Awakening expansion added one of the best quality of life features the game has ever seen, loot filters. These loot filters allow you to customize how loot labels are displayed, down to the size of the text, the color of the text, borders, backgrounds, and they even allow you to add additional drop sound effects. As the name suggests, filters also allow you to completely hide the labels of loot that you aren't interested in, which also makes it so that you cannot accidentally pick up hidden items unless you hold down the display all loot hotkey. With so much loot dropping in Path of Exile, the addition of filters can make sorting through those drops much faster and much less tiresome. The only real drawback to loot filters, however, is that they are somewhat tricky and time consuming to create your own custom ones. So, to allow you to bypass that, I'm going to share with you my own personal loot filter, and in this video I'll show you how it works. When I set out to create my loot filter, I had a few main goals in mind. Firstly, I wanted something that was pretty light-handed. I only wanted to hide the most guaranteed to be useless items, and I didn't want it to get in the way of leveling a new character either. Secondly, I wanted to highlight valuable items and things of note in a way that was natural to Path of Exile experience, nothing that would be breaking my immersion. So I wanted to use colors and styles that felt like something the developers would have used if they were going to create a filter. Thirdly, I wanted to make it a learning tool for new players as well, something that could help teach them to recognize the value of different item types, but also to teach them things like vendor recipes and good crafting bases. And finally, I wanted it to be made in cooperation with my viewers. Tons of work on this filter was done on my live stream, and many of my viewers have already used it in the beta and provided feedback that I've been able to use to improve it. Version 1.0 of my loot filter is out now as of the time of recording this video, and can be obtained from the link in the description below. I'll likely improve on it over time, so I'll make sure the link is always up to date for you guys with the most recent version of the loot filter. To install the loot filter, create a text file named ZiggyD Loot in your Documents, My Documents, Path of Exile folder. Then simply copy-paste the raw code from the paste bin into the document. Make sure that word wrap is turned off if you're using Notepad to do this. Then save the file and change the extension to .filter instead of .text. You can then go into game and select the filter from the drop-down box under the UI options in game. If you'd like more information on this installation process or run into any problems, then check out my more detailed installation guide, which will also be linked in the description below. So here's a rundown of how my filter actually works and how to get the most out of it. While leveling, the filter will not be getting in your way. The list of rules you can see here in this filter editing software slowly start to hide bad base items as you progress through zones. For example, you won't see a normal rusted sword, which is a level 1 item, in a level 20 zone. As you get into higher level zones, the less valuable items that are still shown also have their text size reduced so as to not get in your way. Rare items with yellow text will always be shown regardless of level, as these can often be useful even if their base item type is bad, and they can always be vendor identified for fragments of currency. Good base jewelry items will always be shown as well, since they can be crafted into magic or rare items to help your character or to be traded with other players. Bad base jewelry, however, will be hidden after a certain level. Things like coral amulets are rarely useful later in the game. Flasks are important and will always be shown relevant to your character. Utility flasks will always be shown as well. 3-link items will always be shown in normal difficulty, as they can be handy for linking your skills to support gems. 4-link items are always shown for the same reason until level 68, the level at which you start endgame maps. Of course, 5 and 6-link items are not only shown but also given very noticeable highlighting to signify their value. Low value currency is left unchanged, but it is not hidden. Mid value currency has slightly larger text and a slightly brighter text color. High value currency is bigger and brighter again, and is also given a border and an additional drop sound to make sure you don't miss them. Divination cards have been given a matching blue border to make them stand out more. Jewels have a subtle purple border to distinguish them from regular gear drops. Regular gems are not hidden, but are left unchanged. Quality gems are given a matching green border to make them stand out more. Path of Exile features a complex vendor recipe system where you can sell certain items or combination of items to vendors in order to get back currency or other useful things. These recipes can often be a little hard for new players to learn. Items involved in the best of these recipes that grant bonus currency orbs are given a slight currency colored highlight and border. When you mouse over their labels, the color stands out more than regular items. Here's a quick rundown of these items that are highlighted for these currency recipes and how their vendor recipes work. Items with at least 3 linked sockets that include red, green, and blue in that linked combination are called chromatic items. These can be vended for a chromatic orb. Items with 6 sockets can be vended for jeweler's orbs. Armor that drops with 20% quality can be vended for armor scraps. The same recipe applies to weapons, but grants blacksmith whetstones instead. Quality flasks have a similar recipe where if you vendor any number of flasks totaling 40% total quality, you will receive a glassblower's bauble. Save these quality flasks until you have a bunch of them to vendor all in one go. Gavels, stone hammers, and rock breakers can be turned into cartographers' chisels by giving them 20% quality with blacksmith whetstones, and by vendoring them with an endgame map. Save some of these up as you level to convert into chisels at endgame with low-level maps that you don't want to use. Some base item types can have a chance orb used on them for a small chance at a valuable unique item, like this gold ring that can be chanced for End of Arius or Venter's Gamble. These items are highlighted with a bronze colour similar to that of a unique item to remind you why they are being highlighted. When you mouse over the label, the colour stands out more as well. You don't have to chance orb every one of these items that drops. This highlight is just a suggestion. High-end late-game currency recipes are also included. The Chaos Orb and Regal Orb recipes are quite profitable. Vendoring a full set of rare items over item level 60 grants you a Chaos Orb, which is the most commonly traded currency. A full set includes a helmet, gloves, boots, body armor, 2 rings, amulet, belt, and either a 2-handed or 2 one-handed weapons. Optimal items for this recipe are highlighted with a subtle yellow border, similar in look to a Chaos Orb. To increase efficiency, this highlighting ignores larger rares that take up too much space in your stash and inventory. The Regal recipe is the same, but for rares over item level 75, and it grants a Regal Orb instead. The highlighting for these items is a subtle blue border, reminiscent of the look of a Regal Orb. And that's it. If this does all seem like too much to absorb in one go, I suggest just playing with the filter on. It's designed to be really natural to use and easy to learn. With this filter on, you'll make more currency, miss less things, and spend less time sorting through loot. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you have any questions or suggestions for improvements I can make to the filter, feel free to leave them in the comments below. That's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.